Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Superintendent's new show called Happenings in Dearborn Public Schools. I'm Glenn Maleyko, Superintendent for Dearborn Schools. I'm here with a couple special guests. I'm here with Bob Attee, Principal of DuVall, and Mr. Sean Fisher, Principal at Smith Middle School. Bob and Sean, how are you doing today?
Good. How about with you, Glenn?
Good. Doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maleyko. I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
Great. It's great to have these two gentlemen. We've been going around, and one of the things we've been doing is promoting the blog, the communication piece throughout the school district. That's called the blog process. It really is tied to positive customer service in the district. And if I could just give the overarching reason why we've done this, it's really just about communicating with parents. I want to stress that me as superintendent, I'm leading the charge by having a blog. But I just want to let the parents out there know that my blog isn't the most important. I really value the teacher blogs. I think it's most important because those blogs are the ones that are close to the students and are the ones that get the information out to the parents so that they can support their students in the classroom. Some might ask, well, what is a blog? Well, I mean, a blog it's basically web-based and allows for interaction, and I can let Bob or Sean fill in or add to it as needed. But it really just allows a communication, a dialogue, and it's an easy way to get information out to parents, to students. We've been actively, I think, having individuals subscribe for blogs, and so it's just a way to really be proactive with communication. So, having said that, Bob, you are the co-chair of the school blog implementation plan. What is going on currently and what's going to happen in the future with the blogs in the school district?
Well, one of the things that we have that's happening right now is buildings are implementing blogs with principals and secretaries. That way we're making building-wide news available for parents and community members and students and staff. So if there's an event happening in your child's school, this is where you'll be able to go to find out a little bit about it, as well as upcoming PTA announcements and other special events. So since October 2015, buildings have had active blogs, and as of what will happen is by February 2016, we're asking that each individual classroom teacher have a blog so that parents can become aware of what's going on during the course of the week in their child's classes, if there's any special events coming up with those classes, homework assignment, and other things that they need to be aware of.
Okay. So how have we since the teachers are going to be implementing these blogs, obviously we've had some blogs that are out there, some teachers have not. How are we supporting teachers with getting those blogs implemented throughout the district?
One of the things that's happened is we have professional development with the administrators on how to be able to implement blogs. And from there, we're using the train-the-trainer model with the administrators as the lead trainers. We're getting support staff involved in the schools so that we have a school-wide member that would also be able to support with that. During staff meetings and late start days, the administrators are able to provide the professional development to the staff. And Mr. Kenneberg and Mr. Patterson have been very supportive by sending out help sheets and how-to videos with the iBlog that we've been able to do so that everyone's able to implement blogs, create a post, and maintain their blog on a regular weekly basis, which is what we're asking for.
And Mr. Patterson is our Director of Media Services. Mr. Kenneberg is our webmaster throughout the district. So if a parent wanted to sign up for a blog, what would they need to do in order to sign up for a blog?
First, one of the things that they need to do is to actually go to the school webpage. They would go on to, there's a little post there, and there's a spot for email address. And what they'd be able to do is to go into that spot, type in their email address, and hit subscribe. Okay. By hitting subscribe, you can subscribe to the school blog or to each individual teacher's blog that your child's a part of or that you want to be able to see.
So they have the ability then to choose which blogs they want to subscribe to, which might be multiple depending on how many teachers, their children might have classes with those teachers. So gives them a little bit of a choice in the matter.
Definitely.
Okay. So I got a question for Mr. Fisher. I know you've been big on, you started here, we're so glad to have you here in Dearborn Schools. You started in July, as the principal. And one of the things we see, and one of the reasons we've asked you on the show here today is you've been really moving on some of the video programs and things. In fact, I think we had a little bit of fun as you're smiling in August when I accidentally may have photobombed your blog as it was going on. But it was good, I think, to have a sense of humor. And you were very serious about it, as you are, but I appreciate the sense of humor. And we did did put that out there to the public, and so we got to have a little fun with it as well. I think that's
Definitely.
important at work. But can you tell me some of the things you're doing with the blogs at your school specifically, Mr. Fisher?
Yes, thank you for asking, Dr. Maleyko. One of the primary focuses we had is that when I did my initial assessment of the school, I noticed that we already had, we were big into the Google platform. So I just kind of want to build on what our teachers already knew. So since they had a Google platform, I noticed that they had access to their own YouTube channels and their own Google profiles. So we started there with just kind of building self-help videos where teachers could kind of put out messages about what was going on this week. And I kind of role modeled that myself by, as I was in processing into the district and moving around doing different things, I thought it would be cool to just kind of maybe do like little video blogs here and there. And it just kind of caught on. Parents started saying, hey, we really like this. The teachers kind of realized that, you know, with our customer service push, that's kind of where they wanted to go as well. So our teachers started creating their own, we call them vlogs, video blogs.
Okay. How have you gotten feedback from the parents on your blogs? I know I've heard some comments from parents. What is the feedback you've been getting?
So we've received great feedback on our blogs. I have, I believe, maybe 100. So that would be maybe 1/5 of our parent population. They have actually subscribed. So we have quite a few subscribers. We actually even have a YouTube channel for our student-driven blogs. So it works, our student-driven broadcasts in the morning.
And I have heard that as I've gone around, not only, I've heard that specifically about your school and Bob, about your school, but I've been getting, a lot of positive with parents around that they really like the proactive, form of communication with the blog implementation. So Bob, can you tell me, if you're a teacher or someone that's implementing a blog, or if you're someone that just wants to go and look for a blog, where can parents and where can teachers find blogs if they were to search out there? So obviously we have the web, and there's many ways to get to the blog. How would they get to their blog for their school?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that you could go about getting there. On the Dearborn Public Schools webpage, there's a link under About Our Schools, and if you click on Schools, you'll be able to locate each individual school. And from that school, you can click on that link, and it takes you to the school news page. From there, each individual school blog has where you can click on a link for staff and support staff members, and you can locate those members from there. Or from the Dearborn Public Schools webpage itself, there's also, when you go to About Us, there's a link right below it for blogs, and if you click on blogs, you can also search by staff member.
Okay. And the reason I mention that, because I know when people are browsing the web, some people like to find things certain ways, some go other ways. I know some that just do a Google search every time. Mm-hmm. Some like links. So there are different ways that they can actually search for the teacher blogs. But it is, at this point, something that you've been looking at on a district to make it easy for parents. Isn't that what your committee's been looking at?
That was going to be our push right there. That way, if you needed an individual teacher or a specific school, you could locate it through multiple ways.
Okay. So, we're talking to parents and we're talking to staff here as well. Let's say we have a staff member that, may feel like, maybe they're not so sure about the blog, or maybe that's technology is not their area of skill set, and so the question to both of you, and maybe for you, Mr. Fisher at Smith as well, but either of you can answer this. What would you recommend a teacher does? I'm going around the district and I see that blogs are being implemented, but you might have some out there that aren't comfortable, with implementing a blog. I mean, what are some recommendations that you guys may have for teachers as they do that?
I think I'll start out with that. That was a reality in my school. And I understand that, technology sometimes can be an asset or sometimes it can be a barrier. And I did not want it to be a barrier. So being familiar with technology, I just reached out to my teachers and said, hey, anytime that you need help, just let me know and I'll set aside some time. So in the beginning of the year, I met with quite a few teachers and just helped, walk them through setting up their profiles, setting up their blogs. When there became a time where I didn't have the time anymore, I reached out to Mr. Robert Harrison, which was one of our tech coaches, and he was more than happy to come in our building and spend hours on end helping square away our teachers.
That's great. And I know we have another, you mentioned, Bob, about Amy Gwiz is another support, and we've been getting great feedback. So there is support out there for individuals, and like you said, in the trainer. So, and again, we want to transition, is my understanding, into this and not make everyone feel pressure. I can say that as I'm going around the schools, I do see it's very impressive to see the positive momentum. Even I was at school today, I was at Bryant, and one of the things, even one of the teachers kind of comment was initially wasn't so sure, but now that she's seen the power of the communication, with the children, because really that's what it's about. We're about the education of the students. So I'm feeling that positive. I know that, with the social media out there, we have so many different forums. We have, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, many others, YouTube. Mr. Fisher, let's just talk about the YouTube. You kind of showed me a few things. What is your thoughts on, using the video in YouTube, getting messages out there for parents?
I think it works really well. Earlier in the year, we set up a Google Hangout, which is a live internet broadcast, or actually I like to refer to it as a town hall meeting, where we set up an event 2 weeks out, and we set up a platform where parents and community members could send in questions. We were able to get about 50 questions, and my assistant principal, Miriam Kobasi, and I were able to take an hour and answer questions online. And then once we were done, we were able to archive and leave that for parents to access later on. So I think it works very well. But I also would say, because everyone uses different social media, try to use more. So I tend to use WordPress, which links my Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus accounts together.
So that's something I know, like with this show, let's just talk about this show. How are we pushing out this? This show is being put out on YouTube, the happenings in Dearborn schools. Mm-hmm. Then it's being pumped out via the blogs. And I know for what you just mentioned, all those sources, I know, for example, my blog, which is superintendent.dearbornschools.org. What happens is I use that WordPress app, which is through the blog, and then it pumps it out to all those media, social, mm-hmm. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and
Google Plus.
Google,
probably.
Yes. So it goes to several. It makes it convenient, and that way we can get the message out there. I'm also encouraging, I know you have a YouTube channel. I encourage individuals to sign up for our channel too, because then they'll get the updates, with this broadcast. So do see the power in that. And I do, today, thank you, gentlemen, for, the work you're doing here to try to get out in front and just be proactive with parents. I think this is really just about customer service, getting the message out there, being transparent. And so I thank you today, for taking the time to come on the show. And I know you've also presented around the district, and you're really going to work with that process and make sure that we're successful for the sake of the students. So appreciate that. And for those out there in the audience, I just want to say, and out there watching on YouTube, appreciate your time that you're taking to watch the show, because we really just want to make this a positive way to get messages out on the things that are happening in the schools. And if there's any questions on the blogs, what I would ask individuals to do, or parents or teachers, is to go to their principals. Wouldn't you agree, gentlemen? You can go to the local principal, or you can go to the teacher, ask the question, and they'll be happy to help them. But having said that, encourage you, sign up for the blogs, because where there's information out there, there's power in information. And I've seen it, how many times do we have where, your children comes home from school. I know with my son in particular, what did you do at school? Well, nothing, Dad, or I don't know what we did. Well, wait a minute, Dad or Mom comes out and says, well, wait a minute here, I didn't see that, because here's the blog, and it tells me exactly what's been going on in the school. So again, we encourage the parents to get out there, get on the blogs. We thank the teachers for their support of, working for the blogs, making sure we're implementing it. We do recognize the time it takes. And again, I just want to thank the Board of Education and entire administration for making customer service important in Dearborn Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maleyko.
Thank you, Dr. Maleyko.